we're at a place now where we can acknowledge that New Balance have had a really, really good few years.
Bruv, they're the best. They've been the best for a while.
So slightly switching gears, I wanted to ask you about your upbringing. Obviously, you talked about sort of how you fell in love with kicks, and you touched on primary school and stuff like that. I wanted to ask you, growing up, sort of what area did you come from, and what were the shoes that you would see on people's feet just in your area growing up?
Yeah, so I come from St. Albans.
Shout out to St. Albans.
Trust me. A lot of people doing cool stuff are from St. Albans. To be fair,
I trust it.
But yeah, I grew up in St. Albans. We're in this. Well, St. Albans is situated just north of London, so it's very well connected. You can be in Central in like 20 minutes. So obviously there's a very large influence from London because it's so close, and a lot of people are obviously, like, you can live in St. Albans and be in London literally every single day. So I've always sort of grown up feeling like I felt like I'm part of London without living in London.
I respect it.
Growing up, like, it's been diverse, to be fair. Like, obviously, like, in the UK, like, fashion's been like constantly changing, and like when I was first conscious of footwear, it just so happened to be a time where people were rocking chinos and Vans. So like that was like the first shoe that I really became aware of and thought, oh, I need to get a pair of Vans. And it was the Vans, I don't even know what they're called, but it's the ones, literally like the plain ones with like, people would often lace them like flat, and it would just have that little Vans logo. It's not the old school ones.
Oh no, I get you.
Them ones that were popping in like 2011, 2012. You'd obviously have like, and it's funny because when I look back at like St. Albans from when I was young in school, like we had like, obviously like you had like your groups of like chavs, and they were obviously rocking like the full grey tracksuits, your JD Sports, like all those kind of brands, and they'd be rocking Air Maxes. They'd have 95s, Air Max 90s, Air Max 1s, they'd have Reeboks, like, so like all of those sneaker shoes were mostly worn by like that sort of demographic. But funnily enough, like in school, those were often like the cool people, or like the kind of popular people everyone liked. So, and obviously when I was younger, you'd see like year 10s, year 11s, and that was the first time I was really seeing like Air Max or like Jordans. Before I knew what they were. And then obviously as I got older, I found out what they were from your Crep Cities, the Facebook groups, Instagram, when Instagram started popping. And then that's kind of like how I connected the dots. But like growing up, I'd see everything, but I didn't know what it was until I got older, and I was like, oh, I've been seeing this shoe since I was 3 years old, but I didn't know it was an Air Max 95. And like my whole life I would have thought I'd never wear that shoe. It's chunky, it's not me. But then like as you grow older, you sort of like the nostalgia of it kind of like, it becomes, over time it sort of becomes something like recognizable. It represents where you're from in a way. And so yeah, like as I grew 15, 16, 17, that's only really when I started really going towards just Air Max and just Nike. In them years, I only wore Nike. I didn't care about any other brand. Like in my mind, there was only Nike. Like I remember even I remember a period where like some reason I got tempted into buying Superstars, because Superstars were like popping. They're popping in like 2015.
Facts.
Like Pharrell did all the multicolored. I got the classic pair, and like back then, I was really into like your old school hip hop. It's quite funny actually, because like I was like, bro, from when I was 12 to like 16, I was like a hip hop purist, bro. And it's because, bro, like my older brother Luigi, shout out Luigi, like this guy is like he's literally like a encyclopedia for like hip hop.
I like it.
And so like the only music I had on my iPhone was the music he'd bought that I could just plug in and put on. So that's the only music I had. And I'd even be like, I used to be like 13 and like like I'd hear like my friends listening to Drake, and I'd be like, I don't care about that new music. So like, I had a pair of Superstars because I recognised like a lot of the rappers that I was into were wearing them.
Old school, yeah.
So but like I remember seeing the Adidas box like next to like the couple pairs of Nikes I had, and just thinking like, nah, like this doesn't look right. I don't. And then I stopped, and then I kind of became like really anti. Like it was weird, bro. Like when you're a teenager, you're weird. I was like anti Adidas. I'm just a Nike guy. But yeah, it's funny to look back on all of that.
That's fair, man. Side note, yeah, with the Adidas thing, and we will get into chatting about collabs and things of the past, things potentially of the future, right? Never seen you do an Adidas crep. Yeah. Am I right in saying that?
Nah, I have actually.
Okay.
But the reason why you wouldn't have seen me do an Adidas crep is because I genuinely do not wear Adidas. Like, there's no Adidas models that I gravitate towards. Mm-hmm. And the only work I put out is on product that I really like. Mm-hmm. And I don't wear Adidas. The funny thing is, bro, like in 2022, like when I'd finally gained some traction, and this was at a time where like so from 2020 when I started, I was always gaining like quite slow traction. In 2022, I'd say like it skyrocketed, and I was offered a collaboration from Adidas out of all brands at that time in my life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like I was literally like I didn't, when I started doing what I do, like obviously like I had sort of ideas I'd love to like collaborate with brands, but like deep down, bro, like I didn't actually believe like it was possible.
I hear that.
It was sort of like, it wasn't a goal of mine. Mm-hmm. Because when I started, it started from nothing, started with no following. So then that happened in 2022, which is only like 2 years later. And like it, at first I was like, amazing, you're like, yes, like let's do this. They told me what model it was going to be. We started working on the designs. I can show you a picture as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you that picture.
And at the same, like I've never told this story before. Well, I have to people, but not recorded. But basically, once like the shoe was all CAD'd up, all designed, everything like that, I kind of like, it hit me that like if this shoe releases, firstly like this is going to be my first collab, my first release. This is going to be the introduction of Lorenz.Og to the globe, like on a global scale. And it hit me like, I don't actually love this pair. Like, jeez. I wouldn't actually wear these. And at the same time, so in the midst of all of this, I was DMing Virgil daily. Like, it just so happened to be like, and this is why this is why I always, I try not to plan too much, and I try and leave the planning to God, basically, because it was amazing because I got connected to Virgil just 4 months before he passed. So like, wow. when he passed, it was like, it felt terrible, like, because I've only just been connected with Virgil. Like, it was amazing to be able to talk to him mentor me. He was talking crazy, bro. Like, this guy was talking crazy, like, about doing stuff. So obviously, like, that was a time in my life where I was thinking, like, in 6 months' time when we're doing this and we're doing this, and I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna. So like, I'm planning, and then he passes away. Everything's gone. But one of the blessings from that time was that I was able to run these things by him, and I messaged him. I told him my dilemma. Like, I was like, look, bro, I've been offered a collab from Adidas, but like, really and truly, like, I don't love the shoe, and I know that if I do this, I'll never be able to work with Nike. Mm-hmm. I knew that, and I just had this anxiety about the whole thing. Like it didn't fill me with like excitement or joy. Like obviously at the start it did. I just said yeah for sure. I never even like asked the details. We got to like designing it, finished the CADs and everything, and like I've already okayed it. I've already said like I'm happy to do this. People have started working on it. And then yeah, like spoke it over with him, spoke it over with my friends, obviously prayed about it and everything, and then like eventually I'm like, I'm gonna have to walk away from this, because like I just can't do this. I can't have my first collab, my first shoe, be a shoe that I don't even want to wear. Like and then I realized that the first collab that I do, it's gotta be like a shoe of the year. It's gotta be in that realm. Like, I look at Sean Wotherspoon and the first pair that he put out, like
97 was
that was
showstopper, bro.
Like,
Showstopper, legendary.
So like, and you know what? The first one you put out is your most important one.
It's the one that people remember, bro. Facts.
Because like, let's be real. The other Sean Wotherspoon releases haven't been like, they haven't been 97-1. They haven't been 97-1. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you get the first one wrong, like, so yeah, had to walk away from that. And it's just funny, like, cause like, obviously, like, ever since then, I've been really working towards a big collaboration where I can put my work out on a global scale, or at least on a commercial scale, so people have access to my work, the work that they see on Instagram, like that standard of shoe. But obviously it's funny because one of the only brands that I don't really gravitate towards were the ones that actually offer me a collab, and they actually offered me a lot of opportunities, but it just didn't make sense for me. And like, a lot of the time your power comes from what you say no to.
Absolutely.
And I've got enough respect and enough love for the people at the brand. Like, they actually saw very, very early on, like,
I respect
and were willing to take a risk in giving me shoes so early. So yeah, it's funny.
No, that's definitely an interesting story, and I definitely would have never put those together. Just while you were talking, I'm a very inquisitive dude. Tell me to do one if you want. What was the silhouette?
Bruv, this is the thing. I can't even remember what it was called. Bro. Like, I don't...
Well played.
Like, it wasn't... So it was a new Adidas silhouette.
Oh, snap.
It was a new... when they showed me, it wasn't released. But it has since released, like, people have done collabs on it. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty... Offspring's done a collab on it.
Okay.
They've done a collab on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
those of you that are eagle-eyed and clocking the clues, man, I think you'll be able to work it out.
Yeah.
You get me? That's interesting.
Sean Wotherspoon's also done one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know.
Yeah. But like, if it was a sick silhouette, I would have remembered.
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear you.
So, but the funny thing is that that silhouette looked like an Air Max. Mm-hmm. So like, if there ever was an Adidas shoe that kind of would work well with the design language, it probably would be this one. But it just didn't make sense for me, and like, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made was to turn that down, because I think if I went through with that, it wouldn't have been good for me.
I hear you, bro. Hi there. So nice to see you. Sorry to interrupt the pod. I'll be literally 30 seconds. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And also, if you enjoy the pod, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. Also, if you're listening on an audio platform, feel free to give us a review, whether it be positive or negative. Just leave a review. We really, really appreciate it. Also, feel free to listen to our old episodes. And if you ever want to get in contact, if you want to let me know what you're thinking, feeling, or whatever, holler at me. My name is PROZECH. PROZECH on all social media. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm enjoying TikTok at the moment. So feel free to holler at me. I will always holler back. And with all that being said, I'll let you get back to the pod. Toodles. Something I always like to do when I get the opportunity to speak to somebody that has a full-blown career in kicks is talk about the journey, right? Because obviously there will be people that are watching this and people listening that at some point aspire to do some of the things that you've been able to achieve in the industry. And it might be inspirational for them to hear your story and how you did it, whether it was all planned out and patterned or whether it sort of just fell into place and just happened. Like, there can be a lot of gems and a lot of benefit from understanding that journey. So talk to us about your journey, man, all the way from beginning to wherever you want to get.
I mean, like, obviously I touched on how, like, as a teenager, once I was really like immersed in sneaker culture, I became obsessed with footwear, and I felt like I was so passionate about footwear, like, but being like 17, 18, when you first start thinking like, what am I gonna do like when I leave school, I don't know why, but like I didn't think a career in footwear was like attainable. I'd never met anyone who worked in the industry, and like often, like, I don't know, I had the mentality like everyone would want to do this, so it's going to be so hard. And it's completely the reverse. like oftentimes it's things that, like, it's the unusual route that actually there's not as many people trying to go into that. So when I left school, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Like, it was actually like it was like a crisis for me, really. Like, I was 18, I did sixth form, like I had the opportunity to go uni. I even applied, and then I decided, all right, I'm gonna defer, I'm gonna go to like a fashion college, and that was purely based on like the fact that I loved footwear. So I thought fashion, footwear, and also my sister went there, and she was able to go from 1 year in college there straight into working in like the fashion industry straight away, instead of doing like 4 years of uni and like getting into mad debt. Like, I was so lucky that I didn't go to uni, because I sort of realized back then like uni's not really like, because I'm one of 10 children, like, as well.
Buddy.
Like, so I've seen 9 of my brothers and sisters before me go through what I was going through, being 17, 18, 19. Like, I've seen them go through life like 9 times. So at that stage, like, I just felt deep within me like uni isn't what it was, especially now. Like, I'm really and truly like, uni's a scam, real talk. Like, now, wow. I would advise all young people, unless you want to do something really like vocational, like medicine, like those type of subjects, you obviously have to go uni. But like, if you're someone like me, where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I had these passions within me which I wanted to explore, but I didn't have the confidence that it was very attainable, the worst place you could go to is uni and rack up 50 grand debt, and then 4 years later you still don't know what you want to do, and you have added pressure. So I went to college for a year, fashion college. I realized I don't really care about fashion that much. I just care about sneakers, sportswear. Like, I was into Supreme, I was still into Supreme, Stone Island, those kind of brands, but like where I went, it was more like your fashion retail, like your high street or your designer. But a teacher there taught me, he was like, you need to, if you want to work in the industry, you need to find what brand like you really fit. He said, like, when applying for jobs, it's not about your CV. It's in fashion, it's about whether your brand fits. So like, he said, like, people who work in the head office of like Levi's will all sort of be a certain person, look a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way, whereas people who work for Nike, completely different. They're all sort of, sport is sort of in them, like, on their mind. They're all encouraged to do sport every day. That's literally like one of the Nike maxims, is like, make sport a daily habit. Like, they really push that on you. And then right there, it was like, it kind of seemed obvious to me. It was like, Nike is the brand that I really fit. I'm into football, I'm into sports, I'm really into their products. Like, I'm passionate about that. So then it was like, all right, I need to work for Nike. And then, like, obviously you start looking at that careers at Nike, and like, they're asking you for like 4 different degrees and like all this, and you're like, oh. And then he's like, just work at a Nike store, just do that. And like, part of me didn't want to go back in, because I'd always had like retail jobs. I worked for Office, I worked for Shoe,
You worked at Shoe.
I worked at M&S. Like I didn't want to like go to college and then go back into retail, because also like there's this insecurity that like, oh, if I'm in retail, like I don't have a job that I can like, you know them ones where you're 18, you go to the pub and like you're seeing people again for the first time, and all people's asking you is like, oh, what are you doing now? Like, but they just want to like everyone's just kind of comparing where they're at, like, oh, 100%. I'm doing this, I'm here, I'm like, so like I felt insecure like about working in retail, but like I shouldn't have, because going to work at Nike, I worked in the outlet in Hatfield, so it was down the road from me. It was the best job I've ever had, bro. 44% off Nike, bro.
Jeez.
44%. Like, I swear that changed my life. And like, also like, just being in the Nike environment, bro, I learned so much about the industry by being there every day, talking to people. Resellers would come in, like real resellers. I'm not talking about resellers who buy Travis Scott's. I'm talking about resellers who buy hundreds of pairs of like outlet shoes, not hyped.
Like the brick flip kind of guys, yeah.
Nah, but then they go to like Eastern Europe and sell them all there. And bro, these guys were the real. They made it full on, made a living from it. Like
absolutely,
they're a whole network of people. But yeah, like just being there was amazing for me, and like that gave me the opportunity to apply for an internship through. They had like an employee program. So like that's one piece of advice I'd say to anyone: if you have a dream of working for X brand, work for them in store first. Like that's the best thing you can do. But like, to be honest, everyone who works for Nike would get immense value from working in store first, because how can you work in head office, and how can you know and embody the brand if you haven't even been in the store every single day and really like lived that, or at least had some involvement in the brand kind of ecosystem, like. And that's, I think, that's a problem that I believe they have at the moment. So yeah, I was working for Nike in store, loved it, like 44% off. But I felt insecure about where I was at, really and truly. I applied for an internship at Nike, and bro, it was the longest process ever. But also like it was funny because to apply for an internship, you have to be a student. You have to be a university student. I think it's to do with like funding or whatever. Because this was in another country. This was for the European headquarters in Hilversum in the Netherlands. So what I had to do was I had to enroll on the Open University, and like had to sort of like legally be a student, and then like that allowed you. Yeah. And then, bro, after like 6 months. I got down to the final 2.
Come on.
And then I had to do an Excel test. Myth, like literally like pure, like it was terrible. And then like they called me like a week later, like, oh, like we're really sorry, like we decided to go with someone else. And I was gutted, because I felt like that was the only lifeline I had, bro. Like I didn't have prospects, bro. It felt like I didn't have prospects. It felt like I work in retail, I'm into sneakers. What else can I do? Like literally. And then like it's funny, it was sneakers day in like 2019. I don't know if you were about back then, but like that was like one of the only crazy sneakers day there's ever been. There
like the run around
shop
ones.
drops in London. There was like
I heard
near
about
Truman Brewery, Sakai's, and then someone made a rumour that there was going to be something at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Everyone goes there, I'm there. Like who else was there, man? But a lot of people were there. Like a lot of people to be fair, a lot of people who were there back then aren't really like in the space anymore. But everyone then goes there, and then suddenly the shock drop is actually at the same place again for like the Jordan 1. I think they were like the not for resale. And then I was on the train home, been a crazy day. I got the Sakai's, and then I got a missed call from Dutch number. I'm like, yo, call him back, and he's like we've got something for you. And basically the reason they called me back was because on the phone when they told me that I didn't get it, I kept him on the phone. I was like, look, I'm gonna keep on applying till I get it. Like, can you let me know if there's anything that I should do to make sure next time I definitely get it? Like, I'm gonna enroll on this course. I said all these things that I said, this is all I want to do. I'm gonna keep on applying. And like, because I showed him like I really had this true desire and true passion, he made it his mission to like try and get me on something. And then a few weeks later I got the call, and literally within 3 weeks I was there. Like, my whole life had changed. Like, I felt, and like at the time, bro, I felt like I'd made it, bro. I felt like my whole life is complete. I'm at Nike. That's all I wanted to do. That was the end goal in my mind.
That's the dream for
and
like a lot of people.
I was only 19.
Wow.
Like, I was in many ways well, it's the best thing that could have happened to me. But like, I was probably too young for that kind of experience to go well. But yeah, it was amazing.
So you get to Nike, and I can imagine they're not slamming you into the sample room and making you create product. They're probably making you work from the ground up. It's an internship at the end of the day. So what did you actually get to do at Nike? What was your job?
So to be honest, there would have been interns who were literally thrown straight into the sample room.
Okay.
And they're assisting color designers, and that was their role. Or there would be like interns who are like working for Jordan brand. Bro, one of my guys, he was interning for Jordan brand. Bro, his first day, like, his manager gives him a pair of Travis lows, the first ones, and a pair of Travis 6s on his first. Actually, no, I think the 6s might have come out whilst I was there, but he got those two. So like, bro, certain man were put in the sickest parts. But this is the thing, like, you cannot fathom what Nike is like until you go there.
Yeah.
Like especially like a European headquarters. Nike is so big, bro. There's so many different moving parts. Like, there's thousands of people work there. And like, I was interning for, it's quite hard to explain now, because even since I worked there, they've reorged and like changed the company. But I was working for Nike Direct.
Okay.
Nike Direct basically is responsible for it's Nike.com and Nike stores. So basically, Nike Direct to consumer.
Yeah.
So basically, and I was in the buying team for men's lifestyle footwear. So when I got that role, I was thinking, buying men's lifestyle footwear with sneakers, this is lit. Like, we were basically in conjunction with the sneakers team as well. So I was thinking, this is amazing. I didn't really know what buying was, but it sounded sick. Anyway, like, get there, and like, I came to learn that like buying, especially within Nike and for Nike Direct, is a very analytical process. It's basically like forecasting what shoe to bet on for the future. So, for example, right now what are we? We're in autumn 24. So the Nike Direct buying team now will likely be looking at summer 2026. They'll be looking at all of the designs, all of like the marketing strategies, and they'll be thinking, all right, we want to buy 10,000 pairs of this colorway of Air Force One, 5,000 of this colorway. But it's all there. Everything's backed on data. Everything's backed on this colorway in this month sold this month, and like, there's just so much data analyzation, like, that dictates decision making, that it's not even to do really with like what the shoe actually looks like. It's all about the numbers.
It's a color code, it's a number code.
Like,
yeah.
People's day-to-day jobs is reading sales data, processing spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff. So I got thrown in there, and like, working for Nike Direct is the most, well, what I gathered was it was the most sort of like stressful team to be in, because they're like the cash flow of Nike. If Nike Direct's doing badly, like, people aren't buying from Nike directly, then like, Nike aren't selling as much, Nike aren't generating as much. So like, that's where all like the pressure is. Whereas people who work for like brand and people who work for like color design, they don't have those same like KPI, like, from my perspective, obviously.
I'll
like,
get you.
do you know what I mean? So like I got thrown into a very analytical role, and I got to see Nike from the inside out. And yeah, like first day there, I'm walking through Hilversum, get off the train from Amsterdam to Hilversum, and everyone's wearing Nikes, everyone's wearing Heat. They're all walking in the same direction. Like I don't know which way I'm going. Like it feels like the first day of school, bro. And like you are literally going to like a campus as well. Like it literally is like a uni, and it's just mad surreal, bro. Like being there, I'm like, I feel like I'm in like heaven, and like I think I was taught a lesson really, because I really idolized Nike. I really like. I made an idol, bro, of the brand, bro. Everything I wanted was Nike. That's all I wanted, bro. And then I get there. First day is amazing. First week is amazing. We're having meetings with like the gel team. I'm seeing all this. I'm going in the sample rooms. I'm seeing stuff coming out in 2 years. Well, 1 year, 2 years. Getting to see. Right, I'm walking through a room and I'm like, what is that 95 over there? Like, what is that? What is that MX1? Like, that's. I'm looking at it like that's a future Grail. Or like I'd walk into one room and I'd be like, yo, is that re-releasing? Like, is that... I remember one time, my favourite shoe of all time, probably top 3 of all time, is the Stussy Huarache.
Okay.
And I remember going into one room and it was like hidden as well.
That came out, is it the one that came out during lockdown?
That re-released in lockdown.
Yeah.
Both of them, the olives and the
What was
olives.
it called?
I think maybe
was it called a fossil or something?
One of them's like brown. Yeah, I think that might be the fossil.
That. I was like one of my first or second videos.
And I saw them, and I was like, no way, these coming back out.
Yeah.
And like they don't like they obviously like didn't say anything because it's very, bro. It's very like information only gets like obviously if you're not in a certain team, especially if you're an intern, like they don't. There's a lot of focus on keep it tight. Like, I actually got in trouble a couple of times about that whole thing. Like I got really in trouble. But yeah, so then bro, like reality kicks in like 1 month in, 2 months in, and like I could not deal with the role. I wasn't good at my job really. I wasn't able to deliver what my team wanted me to deliver. Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't competent at doing Excel spreadsheets for 8 hours a day, staying later like than most people. Like my team was the type of team where like most people go home at like 4 or 5. My team would be there like till 6. If you're going home, it's like
people are looking at you.
And like, bro, people from other teams would kind of come up to me sometimes like and be like, bro, like come up to me like, yo, like, are you okay? Like is everything okay? Like you seem like they could tell, bro. Like I was miserable, bro. I was miserable, and like real talk, it was one of the only times in my life where I've actually felt like a shell of myself. Like I felt like I had depression, bro.
Wow.
And like it's the only time I've really experienced that, and it's just funny because going back to what I said before, like I really like put Nike on a pedestal. Like I thought this is all I want from life, and then God gives that to me, he shows that to me, and I was miserable. And like, and to be honest, at the time it felt like, it was really hard to deal with because on one hand, I finally got this career, this like role that I'm so proud to be here. Everyone else back home so proud of me that I'm basically like, doing what I set out to do. But internally I'm thinking I wish I was back at the outlet, bro. I was much happier then.
I hear that, man.
And so like it was just a crazy time. Amazing experience. I learned so much, bro. Like I even like, it's funny, like when I got there and I started to see the mentality and like even see future samples, I quite quickly started to think like this doesn't feel like, I didn't feel like things were gonna carry on in the trajectory that they were. Like I got there in 2019, and if you think about 2016, 17, 18, 19, bro, what released in those years.
Yeah.
But then if you think about what released from like 2020 to 2023, even then, bro, when I was there, I could feel like this product is quite, bro. Sorry, this product isn't that great, And like it's funny because everyone there was like, when you're in this Nike bubble, bro, and it's also low key. It's very like dystopian. Is that
yeah,
that's the word. And everyone's like looking at these shoes, and everyone's passing these new samples around. Like I remember like the first time they like unveiled like the Space Hippie. I remember the first time they unveiled like the new Vapor Max. I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't called the Vapor Max. It had a new midsole. I remember the first time they unveiled all these shoes, people passing them around like, this is like the maddest. Like they were acting as if this is going to be like the craziest thing, bro. They were acting as if like, bro, I swear, you weren't even allowed to see the shoe. They didn't even give us samples. You had to put on a headset if you wanted to see it. That's how serious they are about like not risking certain product that they deem like really high heat to get out into the world. But like it's amazing because like I was sitting there like, this stuff's not that good,
brother.
And like but I felt at the time that like, I don't think it's that good, but these guys are so confident that it is. And I was thinking probably when it releases, this stuff's gonna like, this is gonna pop off. But like it didn't. And obviously there can be loads of factors for that. Like COVID came halfway through my internship, and that COVID changed everything, bro. Not just in sneakers, but like, yeah, crazy experience, man. Crazy experience.
That insight was definitely interesting to hear. But you mentioned obviously the fact that COVID comes, and I suppose when COVID comes, are you sort of faced with a crossroads? Are you faced with the idea of, am I staying in the Netherlands and continuing this, or do I go home, or were you sent home? And sort of how did that work?
Bro, I was looking for any excuse to go back home, bro. I was literally any excuse for me to go back home, I was taking it. And so March 2020, everyone knows, like it all kind of started slowly and then it kind of just got mad.
Yeah.
But we like had an early case of coronavirus in the office. So they said that we're shutting down. We got an email on like a Monday, and it was like, we're shutting down the office for 2 weeks whilst we deal with this case, then we're going to reopen. So I was thinking, right, 2 weeks, I'm going home, booked my flight, went home that day. Everyone's working from home. And yeah, so working from home, next few weeks, obviously everything starts to get more and more serious.
That was a great shot.
And then it was like, the office is closed, basically everything closed for like foreseeable future. And I'm now working from home, and being back home, it was like, I told you before, like when we were talking, like it felt like I could finally breathe again. It was like I could finally be myself, and being around like family, friends, just being in my environment, bro. Being back home, I felt like myself again. And because I hadn't been myself, going back to an environment where I've always sort of been myself, that was where I started to think like, I need to make some changes, because like I don't like, I'm literally 19, 20, like I'm not going to be miserable for the sake of it. And I could tell COVID was going to be a long stretch. Like, so I had the thought, like I actually want to end my internship early. So I'd done like 7-8 months. I had like 5 months left. But like, if it was just working from home, I was thinking, what's the point in me like logging onto my computer every day and being miserable when I could end my internship and just focus on me and focus on growing in areas that I want to grow. And in this time, like these few weeks of working from home, I just had the idea to dye some footwear just for myself and for my friends. I don't really know what it was that pushed me to do that, but like when lockdown started, everyone was just doing random shit, bro.
Bro, when lockdown started, people started accessing that creativity like differently, bro. They were like, you know what, man? I've always wanted to paint, man. I'm gonna paint.
Exactly.
You get me? I'm in the yard. I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna paint, right? So no, I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So and like the whole sort of, well, the motivation behind it was like when I was at Nike during the internship, once a month we would meet with GEL, which is like an abbreviation for Geo Express Lane, and that team is responsible for creating like seasonal color palettes on footwear.
Okay.
So for example, that team, so usually like what I say, take it with a pinch of salt, because I was just viewing it from an intern. I don't know the real ins and outs, because there's always someone online like trying to tell me what it really is. But it's funny because so many people think they know. Like it's like I was actually there as well. So but anyway, so like typically like when the bulk of like inline design footwear, so for example like an inline seasonal Air Max 95 will be designed like 18 months to 2 years before it drops. So they're designing it for, so if they were designing it now, maybe they'd be designing it to like, my maths isn't great, but like end of 2026 maybe. And then that goes to all the other teams, like the buying teams, all this like that calendar. Whereas the GEL team, they're on a much shorter timeline. They can, and the reason being is that they can react to trends. So like if they kind of see like, oh, gradient's really popping on Instagram, let's do a gradient version of a flipping Jordan 1. In 9 months time, that can be out on the shelves. Do you know what I mean? So like we would have meetings with them because we would try and give them insights of what we're seeing. And like, so once a month we'd go to their office, and like I'd go from being a shell when I'm with my team and not really having much to offer, not having much value to give. And suddenly I'm in this space where we're talking about samples, colorways, materials, and suddenly like I come alive. I can see my team looking at me like where's this, like, do you know what I mean? And like these, and also like if like these guys didn't know about sneakers.
Because they're like, they're analysts essentially.
They're amazing at their job, bro. These guys are amazing at analyzing data, Excel spreadsheets. Bro, they're killing it at what they're doing. And I couldn't do that, bro. I was incompetent, bro. Whereas when it came to this, it's like, oh, I've got crazy knowledge from when I was 13 researching. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got a real passion there. So like there was a lot of value I could give, and the designers. There was this one woman called Clara, really nice woman. She really like made me feel like I could offer insights, and that gave me a lot of confidence in that place. And so straight away, like my whole vision was it switched from I just want to work for Nike to I want to work for GEL in Nike. And there were sort of some conversations that I had, but that just wasn't like the feedback I got, that's just not really possible. And so when COVID came and I was back home, my whole focus was I want to be a color designer now. I want to get into that world. And I didn't know how to draw. I didn't know how to use like digital means of design. So I just thought, well, what can I do? And so I thought, let me just try and dye some stuff. Let me see what happens. Let me try and build out what my interests are and document them. So that's literally, that was the intention. I never had a plan for it to get where it is today, but the intention was I need to show people like my point of view, instead of just being the guy who wears cool shoes and being the young guy who's like passionate about shoes. That didn't serve me when I was at Nike. I was a sneakerhead meant to stand out at Nike. If everyone has to be a sneakerhead because they work there. Because not everyone is, but as soon as you work for Nike, even if you're from a very remote town in Spain and you never knew what sneakers were, and then you're very good at your job, as soon as you work for Nike, bro, you're immersed into that world, so you have to adopt that. So it was that was challenging for me because I didn't know how to show people what my USP was. So I made it my mission when I left, because I felt sort of like I failed when I decided to quit, when I decided to leave my internship. So I thought, well, I need to be able to show people evidence of, like, I don't know how you call it, but like my eye, my taste. And so yeah, that was the original intention when I left.
That's it. Wow. I mean, so essentially we've left. For more information on Lorenz.Og's amazing career, make sure to go check out Kicks Chronicles 100, available on all podcasting platforms. Now, you do not want to miss this next part. I've been looking at New Balance in a bit of an interesting way, because obviously New Balance, even though they do have history in terms of retros and stuff like that, in terms of silhouettes that people really vibe with, they kind of had to convince a lot of people over the last few years. And I feel like we're at a place now where we can acknowledge that New Balance have had a really, really good few years.
Bruv, they're the best.
Yeah, New Balance has been smashing.
They've been the best for a while.
And I needed to acknowledge that. And also, a lot of people will know I'm the comfort king.
Yeah.
And their
facts.
main thing is creating comfortable silhouettes. So I was like, you know what, I'm definitely gonna get involved.
Yes, man. Do you know what we're working on today? Because I don't really know. And like, yeah, you got me. You got me.
There's only one thing left to do.
Yo! Thank you for listening to this episode of Kicks Chronicles. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, and all that good stuff. And remember, full video version is available on YouTube, audio versions available on Spotify and Apple